All right, 24 bars. See if this works out. I hope that worked out, man. I plugged the computer into a bass amp, which I'm now going to unplug and turn off real quick. And we'll see how it turns out. If you see this video, it came through. If you don't see the video, well, you'll see a video eventually sometime. But, you know, playing in a band does not work. It's just all fun and games. Don't you have that friend or that certain family member that says, you know, you play in a band? Let me change that. That's not work. You guys aren't working. That's not work. You play in a band. How can you call that work? Well, motherfucker, you drive a fucking school bus. How can you call that work? You get up in the morning, you pick the kids up, you drop them off at school. I don't know what you do for the rest of the goddamn day, and then you come back, pick the kids up at school and go drop them off and you're done. I don't know. You know, but they actually think that playing in a band does not work. And my dad was like this. My dad always had the idea that, you know, it costs you more money, which sometimes he was right, but it costs you more money to go do what you're doing than it is that you're making. And, you know, I played in my first band when I was in 7th grade. So I was like, 13, 14 years old. And we actually did some gigs. One time we rented the Harpersfield Town Hall on a Saturday night for $15. We rented it for $15. And our girlfriends moms and our moms all baked cookies and brownies. And we had freaking pop and freaking Kool-Aid, man. We really couldn't afford pop to give away. So we had Kool-Aid because, you know, it was 4 cents a pack or something to make Kool-Aid with water and sugar and a bag of sugar. And we charged the kids 50 cents to get in, and we probably had 30 or 40 kids come in. So, you know, whatever. We made our $15 back. You know, we paid for the Kool-Aid and the cookies, and we played our Aerosmith songs that we knew, and we played the couple Bad Company songs that I remember that we knew, or tried to play, you know, thought we knew. And then we jammed. And one of the first things we jammed and we knew was in the key of G was, and that was my part. I couldn't even walk it up. It was just to C. Back to G. Go walk down. And we probably played that as a half an hour long jam. And the other kid that was a guitar player, I had a Fender Duosonic, and I had this amplifier that was a 212 cabinet with this thing called a Bogan Challenger PA head that was probably about a 15 or 20 watt tube head. It had a couple tubes in it. And he had a gold top Les Paul in 1974 and a Fender Twin Reverb. And he could just blow me right off the stage. But he could play lead. He could play some single note stuff and play leads, and he could play over a blues. And the bass player had some Japanese made bass and a bass amp that was loud enough. Now the drummer actually, Keith, this kid Keith, his mom was from England, and his dad had met her during the war, and she had moved to America, and his dad passed away. I never met his dad. But he actually had a Rogers drum set that was a nice drum set. And I know this kid's mother probably struggled really, really hard to get this kid these drums. And I played with Keith for a long time in my early years, you know, into my 20s. Keith hung around and played a lot. I don't think he plays anymore. I think he lives in Florida. But, you know, you've got that family member, that one family member usually, or that the friends that think that playing in a band isn't a work or isn't a job. And for the weekend warrior that goes out and does it, you know, on the weekend or once or twice a month, or goes to jam session and open mics, yeah, that might be true. But when you're playing 5 nights a week and sometimes maybe 2 times a day, you know, they don't take in account the time it took to learn to play the instrument. Okay, so that's years of your life. Then they don't count finding the other musicians and the rehearsal time to coordinate all the time to get together to play and learn the songs so that they sound decent enough to get out in front of people and play. They don't count the equipment that you have to buy, the guitars, the amps, the cords, the mic stands, the monitors, PA, everything that goes into it, lights, mixing boards. They don't count, that doesn't count. You know, that stuff just falls out of the fucking sky, right? They don't count loading the stuff into the vehicle, driving to the gig, unloading it, setting it up, making it work correctly, then playing the gig for 3 or 4 hours, standing on usually concrete or some kind of wood stage, usually concrete. Then you get done playing, you tear the equipment down, then you got to drive home. If you got to do that again the next day, you do it all over again. But that's not work. That's not work. By no means. How could that be work? You're playing in a band. You're hanging around in a bar. You're going to the park. You're at a festival. You know, everything's fun and games. I don't get to enjoy it. You know, you don't get to enjoy getting drunk and hanging out at the bar and doing all that stuff. You got something to do. You got to play. And you got to drive home afterwards. And I just, you know, it aggravates me, and I've had a falling out. I haven't had a falling out. Someone's had a falling out with me because of what we do. And you know, for the first 5 years that this band was together, I was working in a factory when Linda retired. And up until then, I was working with another guy, and we did remodeling for like 20 years. And she was getting ready to retire, and so for her to retire, I took a factory job so that I could have my own health benefits. Because when she retired, I was covered under her. I was going to lose my benefits because they were too expensive. So while I was at work for 2 years, she taught herself basically how to play the bass guitar. And I'd come home at night and we'd jam together, and I never thought, you know, really that much would come of it. And then we found a drummer and we started putting it together, and I started booking, and before I knew it, summer rolled around. And I was booked 3-4 nights a week for 3 months. And I quit my job, and it stayed that way for 5 years. We did that. And in the wintertime, we played at least 3 weekends a month, and open mics, we hosted open mics in the wintertime during the week. Usually at least 2 of those. So a Monday and a Wednesday, or a Monday and a Thursday. Then Friday and Saturday playing gigs all winter long. And, you know, some months were less than others. January, February would be really light because the weather's so bad in Ohio. So, you know, bars and clubs don't book as much. There's no outdoor gigs to do. There's no festivals or anything in the wintertime to really go play. But we'd pick up stuff at community centers, nursing homes, where just me and Linda would go play. Then in 2017, the health issues started to happen to both of us, not just one of us, to both of us. And it kind of put the brakes on it for a while. So that's where we're at now. We're kind of in a holding pattern. It's all going to come back, but I'm having this fight of, will you guys play in a band? You know, and that's not really a job. That's not really work. You know, motherfucker, if you could do it, you would, right? But no. But no, you don't. Because you can't, so you won't. And it's just, that's the common feeling, you know. People look at musicians and they don't think that we're working. They don't think that any effort has gone into it, that there's any forethought whatsoever. And it is what it is, you know. It's work.